Hey guys, welcome back to another video. So I decided to add a new category to this channel where we will be looking at the top news this week pertaining to trucking that don't usually make it to my regular videos. And to kick us off in this segment, let's see what happened last week, from the BOI filing to the broker transparency rule to a trucking giant re-domiciling in the US and more. Let's get into our weekly trucking roundup. Ready? Let's go! First off, the BOI filing is back in play. After a year of back and forth, the U.S. District Court in Texas has lifted the injunction, which will now allow the enforcement of the beneficial ownership reporting. Once again, all existing LLCs and small businesses that are required to register with their Secretary of State are now also required to do this BOI filing. Now, when is the deadline? As it stands right now, it's March 21st of this year. However, within the next 30 days, that deadline might change. Next, there is the story that has got every trucker's ear perked, and this is the story on broker transparency. On February 18th, the FMCSA decided to give more time for the comment period, and currently the comment period is open until March 20th of this year. But that's not the only news in broker transparency. Do you guys remember the story of TQL, the FMCSA, and a reefer hauler, Dakota Springfields? Dakota Springfields is the woman who, with the help of the FMCSA, managed to get documents from TQL pertaining to the load she hauled for them, and found that TQL kept 44% of what the shipper paid. Well, it is now being reported that when the FMCSA got involved and they looked at all the documentation, they specifically told TQL that the language they use in their carrier packets to set up carriers might be in violation of a US code. More specifically, they were referring to the language that many brokers use in their carrier packets, saying that the carrier waives their right to see those documents once they get set up with a broker. But here's the thing. When the FMCSA released their broker transparency proposal on November 20th of 2024, they specifically said that they can't do anything about the language in the carrier packets, and they cannot force brokers not to put in language that forces carriers to waive their rights. They said that the only way this could be possible is if Congress made that right non-waivable. So why the change of heart? Well, Overdrive states that this could be because since 2023, the FMCSA has seen 3 different political appointees serve as chief counsel, and each lawyer brings their own interpretation of the law. Overdrive also stated that we should know more about where this broker transparency battle is headed in the DOT's spring agenda update. Next, we have the largest trucking company in Canada re-domiciling in the United States. We're talking about TFI International here, which as of April 2024 had 16,500 company trucks, employed 25,000 people, and generated revenue of approximately $7.5 billion. Now, before you guys panic thinking that's it, capacity is going to go through the roof, no, 70% of TFI's operations are already in the United States. And the CEO of TFI, Elaine Bedard, actually called it a paperwork exercise. No trucks, no jobs moving, just the legal address. So what is the freight impact? Zip, nothing. Capacity is going to stay the same. No rate shakeup, no additional competition. At least that's the case in the short term. But down the road, tax savings or easier US capital could promote TFI's growth, which means more trucks and more competition. Then we have the congestion pricing program in New York City. Well, the Federal Highway Administration has decided to terminate the approval of this program as of February 19th. No more $9 to $21 tolls for trucks entering Manhattan south of 60th Street. It's a cost saver for sure, but there is a flip side. Expect more traffic without that system thinning out the herd. So it's good news for your wallet, not so much for the delivery times. What do you guys think? Win or headache? mistake. Now let's talk fuel, a word that every trucker knows hits that bottom line. Diesel prices jumped to $3.60 this week, up 4 cents per gallon since last week. And this is according to EIA's February 19th report. According to actual truck stops, the price is even higher. Diesel prices are estimated at $3.72 per gallon. So that's more pain at the pump, especially in the West Coast with the refinery hiccups driving those prices higher. Currently, on average, the most expensive diesel you will find will be in California, which is seeing an average of $5.10 per gallon, followed by Washington, Pennsylvania, Maine, and New York. On the other side, we have Oklahoma with the lowest average diesel price at $3.19 per gallon, followed by Missouri, Arkansas, Mississippi, and Kansas. If you were looking at the map right here by sonar, the darker the area, the more expensive the diesel prices. Next, we have a curveball for the future of freight, especially for those who are very nervous about the future of EV trucks. Nikola, the electric truck maker, has filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy on February 19th. Once a $30 billion company, they are now in Chapter 11 with debts outweighing the assets big time. Now, this could slow down the EV truck push, leaving carriers wondering about these green fleet plans. So what does this mean for freight? Well, Nikola was a big name when it came to the EV push. Think cleaner fleets, lower emissions. But this crash could spook investors and slow down carriers that are looking to go electric. It's not game over because there are other manufacturers of EV trucks, but losing Nikola, depending on how you pronounce it, yeah, it definitely shakes up things. For carriers, it might mean sticking with diesel rigs longer, especially with regulations like California's emission rules under fire. And finally, how can we not do an update on the freight market? The biggest story right now is what in the world is happening with those freight volumes. FreightWaves just held their State of Freight webinar on February 20th, and the biggest takeaway, the volume index is flat. But during this webinar, they did say that there is a glimmer of hope where imports might jump in March, of course, tightening that capacity and maybe bumping rates up. But for now, it's a waiting game for carriers. So that's the trucking roundup for this week. Wishing you guys an amazing rest of your day. Stay safe, stay healthy, and keep learning. See you in the next video.